Hi, everybody. I'm here with Serge Boudreau, who is going to talk to us about recruiter enablement as we normally do on this channel. So, Serge, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. Give us a quick introduction. Who are you and what do you do?
Absolutely. So my name is Serge Boudreau. I'm the Vice President of Business Development and Partnerships at a company called CareerBeacon. I'm also the host of Canada's #1 HR podcast, Recruitment Flex, and soon to be the biggest HR podcast in the world. So watch out, Recruiting Future and Chat and Cheese. We're coming. I'm kidding, but definitely. So I have spent 20 years in talent acquisition. So both as a practitioner, as a leader, and also on the other side of the ledger, working for companies like Indeed and Workopolis.
Yeah, I think that you've got a lot of credentials to be able to talk about the concept of recruiter enablement because you've led recruitment teams and you've led sales teams. So, like, what is it? What is it to you? What give us your description of recruiter enablement?
Yeah, you know what? When you asked me the question, I thought of how my opinion on it has changed over the years. And I think it's really solidified in the last couple of years. So here's my simplest explanation. So, recruiter enablement to me is creating an environment where the recruiters can focus on two elements: the candidate experience and the hiring manager relationship. So, if you look at that right now, so leadership is tasked really in creating the structure, the process, the playbooks, all the tools that are needed for the recruiter not to worry about these other elements. And where I see that evolve dramatically, I see recruiters more as account managers or even project managers, where they're only focused on relationships and the rest is structured in a way that they can do what they're really good at. Because I think one of the difficulties that we see right now is recruiters do everything, Adam. We expect them to be sourcers, recruitment marketers, analytics, relationship manager, and to be frank, I think they don't really a good do a good job of it. Just think about lack of focus. Like, they're mediocre in all those elements. Instead, if they focus on just those relationships with that, what I call a two-sided marketplace, is those candidates and those hiring managers, think about the outcomes that we could have.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I was I was an okay recruiter overall. There was certain aspects of it I was pretty good at. I was good at the sourcing and I was good at the recruitment marketing, which back then was a couple of sentences in the back of the newspaper.
Yeah.
But it was the other bits, like the assessment and all the administration around it and that things. Yeah, nah, that wasn't my bag. There's quite a lot of areas of it. Today there's a lot of aspects of being a recruiter I wouldn't really enjoy and I wouldn't be very good at,
Yeah.
either. So I totally agree with you. Parallels with sales, absolutely, really agree with that. Recruiters as account managers really agree with that as well. Um, like sales enablement, recruiter enablement. What sales enablement? Like any comments around the kind of tools and processes and things people have in sales versus in recruitment?
Yeah, you know what? I think shifting from going into sales and I'm going into talent acquisition, and I've done this many times in my career. Basically, I go 5 years in sales and I get a little bit bored and I miss the talent acquisition side. So I jump in. And every time that I jump in on talent acquisition side, I think that's the biggest challenge that I have, because I'm used to all this support, all these tools that I'm leveraging on a daily basis, and I have to create it from scratch. And a lot of the times, it's a big undertaking trying to figure out where those tools fit in the recruitment side of it. But like, to give you an idea, like, there's really no sales organization right now that doesn't have just structure. You look at,
Yeah.
everything has a playbook, everything has a way to reach out to your candidates, everything has a way to your potential clients, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything is laid out. You have a team that is supporting you with lead generation, brand awareness. As in, you come into marketing or in recruitment, and you're like, well, you're a part of team of 4 recruiters. I'm like, okay, do we have a coordinator? Do we have admin? Where's our playbooks? And it's not available. You have to build it from scratch, which is a completely different mentality. But I think it goes to, we've talked about this before. Sales is seen as a profit center, and recruitment for a lot of organizations is seen as a cost center, right or wrong. and the tools and resources that are needed are not given to recruiting. And I'm going to say that's our fault, right? I think it's our
Mm,
fault because we haven't proven it. And there's a lot that a talent acquisition leader can come in and actually create proof without a huge amount of additional costs, right? Like it's how you structure your department. It's creating those basic tools, then growing from it, creating that playbook and growing from it. But I think the biggest thing when it comes to credibility, and if we look at sales and to recruitment, is in sales, we are heavily focused on having strong relationships internally and externally. And a good account manager, the rest is taken care of. And we need to do the same for recruiters, where they're solely focused on those relationships. And like as a sales, I always teach my team, you're closing throughout the process, right? You're closing after the first meeting, the second meeting. That's the same for a recruiter. But in their mind, they're trying to figure out, okay, I need to get this candidate through so I can get to the next role, and I need to start sourcing. I need to look at what type of outreach message do I need. And I do need to do the analytics on it. I need to do the recruitment marketing, and they end up not really doing that part of the job that well. Of course, there's exceptions. There's recruiters that can do it all, but it's pretty rare.
yeah, I agree. I agree. So, could you give us some examples of things that you've maybe done in the past, or just general recommendations on tactical things that recruitment teams should be doing to get better at this?
Yeah, I'm going to take a maybe a more holistic approach and look at how the teams are structured, right? Because in most organizations, you have a talent acquisition manager, then say you have 10 recruiters.
Yeah,
What I've seen and taking what I've learned from sales is, like in sales, you might in the past have 10 sales reps and that was it. Everyone was dialing for dollars, right?
yeah,
Compared to the current structure of sales is like you have lead generation, you have analytics, you have, why not look at it in the same way when it comes to recruiting? And I actually did this with a company. So I'll give you an example. You have 10 recruiters. Why not look at it this way? You have three recruiters or account managers, whatever you want to call it. I don't think we'll get away from the recruiter tagline for a long time. You have a recruitment marketer focus on brand. Brand is so critical, right? And recruitment marketer focus on channel distribution, which is always sales has someone that's focused on distribution and the channels that you're focused on, and also focus on lead generation, which is through sourcing or wherever how you're getting your candidates. I would also have a prompt engineer coordinator that's really focused on leveraging all the tech stack tools that you need to leverage, but also coordinating across the board, making sure that the sourcing tools that you're leveraging, then I think this is the biggest thing that recruiters don't have, and they expect to be trainers to all these hiring managers. And I think it's a big gap is a shared resource from HR that focuses on training hiring managers how to interview. Still the biggest gap in our space, in my opinion. Not a lot of hiring managers can interview, and it's not their fault. And are recruiters the best person to train someone on how to interview? Maybe in some circumstances, but I don't believe so. So around 4 years ago, I took over talent acquisition with a large construction company locally that focused on concrete. So when I came in, they really saw the position as an admin focus. They never had hired a talent acquisition person. They had hired an HR person and be like, okay, you're in charge of recruitment. I looked at it a different way. I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way that we can get? Because we're talking maybe 1,000 positions, two recruiters. That's it. Two recruiters and an HR function person hiring 1,000 people a year, which is not a crazy number, but it's still really hard if you take just the amount of resources that we had. So I had limited resource. I could not prove that what I wanted to do was going to work, but I wanted my recruiters to focus on those two core elements. So I took on the duty as the manager to lead recruitment marketing, analytics, uh, creating the playbooks, the tech stacks, all the technology, so the recruiters could only focus on those two core elements. And we saw a major difference. Our recruiters now went into the truck with the drivers to get a really deep understanding of what the job is. They worked in the factory floor, they were at a concrete pouring, So they understood what the role was, and it made a major difference with the relationships with the hiring managers, but it also made a major difference with the candidates because like the goal in the past was just get like sell as many widgets as possible, right? Like get as many people in instead of focusing on those quality widgets. And sometimes those quality, I try not trying to compare people to widgets, but I think you get what I mean in that sense.
I do. Yeah, I get it.
I think the focus where it changes, like how do you get people to opt out? It's a numbers game, right? Like marketing has always been like how many can we sell? But I believe recruitment marketing is how do you get people to opt out for the roles that are not right? So you're not clogging a pipeline with candidates that are probably potentially not a good fit for that hiring manager, saving a hiring manager a ton of time. So by doing that, we saw, I was just looking at numbers because I've tracked everything I've done in my career and I've actually created portfolios, right? Like here's what I've accomplished. And we went from having around 200 open positions at the start of every season. Concrete pouring season in Canada here was early spring to late fall, to having none. Obviously, there was turnover, but replacing two people here, four people at one particular time during the season is a lot easier than replacing 200 and being behind that eight ball. Um, I think the interesting thing that happened there to me, and I was listening to, I think your episode with Chad Sowash, where he says that talent acquisition leaders don't have a lot of backbone. I don't disagree, but taking the approach of screaming into the void that I need more budget and I need more
Yeah.
of this to be able to do my role, prove it. The minute I was able to prove it, I was able to hire three additional role that came in to support what I was doing. I was able to hire an admin, I was able to hire a marketer to come to our team, and I was able to hire well, there was a coordinator, but there's also more someone that leveraged all our tools, more like a tech person that was really focused on our HRS or ATS and all those tools that were involved.
Wow.
Sorry, that's a
Really
long rant.
comprehensive. No, it's fine. Look, this is what we do this for. Lots of lots of comprehensive information in there. First, I don't think I've ever talked to anybody who's given me any information about concrete pouring season in Canada. Uh, However, on a serious note, um, if you think about a sales team, going back to what you said about the structure, and I
Yeah.
totally agree, and this is something I love because nobody has talked about the team structure when
Mm,
they've been considering recruiter enablement on this channel yet. I entirely agree with you. You're not going to get, if you had a sales team of 10 people, you're not going to make them all account executives.
it used
You're
to
going
in the
to have,
past, though. Like that
well,
was
that
the
was
structure in
wrong.
the
We all
past.
know that was wrong now, don't we? I mean, you're going
Yes,
to have some of them are going to be SDRs, some of them are going to be account execs, and some of them are going to be maybe sales engineers or something like that. They're going to have
absolutely.
distinct parts of the process to play. Yet in recruitment, in only the very most sophisticated teams do we structure, the teams according to the funnel, according to the strengths needed by the people to do the job. And we still have so many recruiting teams where one individual's job includes both finding individuals under every rock on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, and that same person's meant to negotiate, the pay and reward for the individual at the other side of the process. So look, I think we need to bring it to a close at this point because we're trying to keep these as bite-sized as possible. But we
Perfect.
have to get you back, Serge, because there's so many different aspects of this that I know you can contribute to. And massive merci from
Merci
me
beaucoup.
to you. And yeah, where can people find you?
So best place to find me is on LinkedIn, Serge Boudreau. Do check out the Recruitment Flex podcast. We cover everything on recruitment, HR, and the world of work. We've been doing it for 3 years now, 260 episodes. So hopefully we can provide value. But hey, send me a message. I love to talk to anyone about recruitment. I could talk about it all day, Adam. So I won't shut up if you don't stop this feed.
Okay, I back that up by the way. I listen to the Recruitment Flex and I encourage you to do so as well. So, Serge, thanks very much. See you again soon.
Thank you.